Hi, everyone. In just a few moments, we will start the Cedar Open Forum. So thank you all for attending, and we're really looking forward to answering any of the questions that you might have. So we have just a couple minutes until the start time. So thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us, it'll be just a few minutes here, everybody. So we're looking forward to talking with you and starting our Cedar High School Open Forum in just a couple of minutes. When it is time to start, we have our assistant principal, Amber Hosford, here, who will be answering the questions in the chat. And I will be answering questions as they come up too verbally so that we can help you all learn more about Cedar High School, the start of the school year. So go ahead and start thinking about your questions. If you're already here and want to pop into the chat and say hi to us, feel free. We're always glad to see who's joining us. And as you may have remembered from last week, we tried to have you join live and it was a little bit of technical difficulties. But today we have with us one of our great techs, Aaron, is here. So if we have any trouble, he should be able to help us out. I see that we have one person visiting us here so far, Becky Baker. Welcome. Glad to have you here. All right, everyone. Well, it is 5:30, so we'll get started. And again, thank you for joining us here at the Cedar High School Live Open Forum. Hi, Caleb. Nice to see you. Caleb's one of our former students here, so great to have you here with us, Caleb. And I shouldn't say former. He'll be continuing with us, but we know him from the last couple years. All right, everyone. Well, my name's Stacy Anderson. I'm the principal here for Cedar High School. And I'm also the principal for Choice School, which is how many of you know me. In the past, I've been the principal at Choice, which is still a school that is an option for everybody and is here in the building, in the upstairs at the building downtown here at 807 West Pine Street. We will have an open forum tonight at 6:30 for Choice if you're interested in learning more about the programs in that school. We are very excited, though, about our new Cedar High School, which is opening in just about a week from now. So we've been in the process of designing Cedar High School for about the last 3 years. We have been looking at a way to design a new school that's very engaging, that uses project-based learning as our main form of instruction, and also that teaches in an interdisciplinary manner. Now, it's been a little hard to figure out how to open this effectively during the pandemic, but our teachers have been hard at work to figure out how to still make it successful for you all. Now, in the fall, starting up with school, we will be going entirely online, as you probably have heard. The whole Shelton School District will be online. We will be utilizing a program called the K-12 curriculum. And one of the things that I can ask Amber to do is to put a link to that in the chat. She'll find it for you guys just so you can look at their website and see a little bit about what that curriculum involves. So all students in the Shelton School District will be learning from home, if at all possible, on their computers. We will be having Chromebook checkouts for students that don't have them, but if you have it left over from last year, that's great. We also will be providing an opportunity for families to let us know if they're having trouble with internet connectivity. So you can always email us, even put it in the chat right now and let us know. But if you want to send us a private email, feel free to do so on the website and let us know, because one of the things that the district has the opportunity to do this year is to buy some hotspots to put out for either a group of families or individual families that need help with internet connectivity, because we know that was an issue last spring. So just a couple things about upcoming with Cedar High School. I'm going to refer to my notes here a few times. So we really want to make sure that your questions are answered today. And this will be our last community forum for the summer for Cedar High School. But next week, all students who are enrolled in Cedar will be going through an orientation. Now, some of you may have attended Choice in the past or done an orientation in the past. This will be a little bit different because Cedar is a brand new high school. We are going to eventually be serving about 140 students with 9 teachers. And we do offer a full course of curriculum to be able to go to college, the military, to do a job after high school, whatever you want to prepare yourself for. So Cedar High School's schedule, once we're able to start in person, is going to be so engaging and fun. I just can't wait to see how it goes. Every student will start the first period of the day with advisory. And at advisory, that's when you'll get to meet with other colleagues in your, or other peers in the school that are around the same grade level. So we'll have several 9th and 10th grade advisories that are mixed grade level, several 11th grade advisories, and then 12th grade advisories also that sometimes may meet together because 12th grade year, obviously you have a lot of things to do, like getting your FAFSA done, getting your college applications in, maybe applying to go into the military and doing tests like the ASVAB. So in your junior and senior year, those are things that you'll really have a lot of time to work on in your advisories for those. Now for the freshmen and sophomores, your advisory tends to focus more on a few different things. You'll still be looking at your high school and beyond plan and what you want to do in the future, but you'll also get time to work on school culture, community building, and things like that that you might want to do in order to support each other in your school goals. So advisory will start your day, and it will be the same with the online K-12 curriculum. So our advisory is going to start in the morning, pretty early, students. So we will be starting with advisory at 7:40 in the morning once we get going with the K-12 online curriculum. You'll then have a second class right after advisory, which will be what we call a standalone class. It'll be one class where you might take a math class, Spanish, art, one of those classes that you need for graduation. After that, once we're going with our regular schedule for Cedar High School, you'll have a project-based learning block where you'll get to do 2 classes taught by 2 different teachers in what's called interdisciplinary learning. That should be a lot of fun for students because all of the projects will be related to the real world. So we don't want you to just go sit and read out of a textbook and memorize facts. We want you to think about what are problems that need to be solved in our community? What are things I really care about? And those are some of those things that you'll be able to work on within those projects. After that, in the regular school day, you would have lunch and then another project block in the afternoon where you'd cover 2 more of your subjects for graduation. One of the questions that comes up a lot is, what if you're a senior and you have some specific things you need to cover? Well, those things also may be done by an independent study course or a course during the day where you're able to maybe not be involved in the projects at that one time because you have to work on something specific for graduation. And we still have the ability to do everything from credit acceleration to credit recovery if you have a need for that. So we really at Cedar High School are going to make everything individualized for the student. It's very student-centered learning. You get a lot of voice in it, and it's pretty exciting. Plus some of the fun stuff, just simple fun stuff. You'll get to help choose the school mascot this year and be the first class, especially if you're a senior, the first graduating class from Cedar High School. Which will be pretty cool. So that should be a lot of fun. Now, given that we're starting remotely this fall, instead of having your project-based learning classes, you will still have advisory first period, and you're going to be learning a new computer system that period called Echo. Echo is pretty cool. We're going to be using it once we're fully onto the projects and the interdisciplinary learning. It's a learning tool that will enable you, just like Skyward sort of, but kind of cooler than Skyward, to see all your daily assignments. It's kind of like a combination of Skyward and Google Classroom, where you can see your assignments, see how you're being graded, what you're missing, the agenda for the day, and for example, even the regular learning time, if you missed a day of school, all of the information for how you need, what you need to make up will be in your Echo account. So say you had to miss a day for a doctor's appointment or you were sick, but you felt better in the evening, you could hop on, catch up on your stuff, collaborate with other students who are working with you on projects, and that should be pretty awesome for you guys to use. So during the first trimester, when we're in the pandemic, you'll get to use Echo in your advisory class. And then after the advisory class, you will have what are called K-12 online classes. And it's really important that you are able to log on from a computer, if at all possible. If you cannot get logged on from your home, please contact us so we can come up with some other ideas for you. It's all going to work best if you can, but the district really wants to support every family in being able to do that. So if you have 5 siblings that are all trying to log on at the same time and you only picked up 1 Chromebook last year, make sure you pick up some more Chromebooks. One of the things that is coming up is Chromebook checkout is available right now. I will have Amber find that on the district website and put it into the chat. So if you want to pick up a Chromebook and arrange a one-on-one time to do that, our district tech people will help you out. They are also going to be arranging some of those more drop-in times to pick up Chromebooks next week and the week after as we get going with school, so that you can pick up one if you need to. Like I said, if you still have yours from last year, great, you don't have to worry about it. So a couple other things to go over. Next week, we will be having an orientation on Monday. So if you've been accepted to Cedar High School and you've already turned in your application, or if you were at Choice last year and were recommended for Cedar, we have our secretary, Sherry Emily, has been trying to call and reach out to you all to get you set up for orientation. We already have a number of you on the orientation list. And what we'll be doing on Friday is sending you a link to the Zoom room to go into for orientation. Now we have a couple of great teachers that will be leading that. Mike, Chris, Sharon, David, and the other Cedar teachers will be jumping in too as they can to help you out with that. You'll see me in there. You'll see Amber, our assistant principal, Elizabeth, our counselor. So if you've been around Choice in the past, a lot of the same faces are at Cedar High School, but we do have some new people, like a new science teacher named Kurt. You're going to love him. And you'll probably get to meet some of those teachers in that first orientation Zoom next Monday. Now, some of you might be going on vacation next week. I sure wish I could go to somewhere far away like Hawaii for a week, but we know most people are sticking close to home. But if you have something you are doing next Monday and you really can't make that orientation, just let Sherry know that when she calls you, and we will set you up to be able to do a different time for orientation. Now, during orientation, you're going to learn about a lot of things. Project-based learning, what is New Tech Network? What is this new Cedar High School? What am I getting into? What can I expect? So that'll be fun. You'll also just get to know kind of what the first week of school is going to look like. They'll talk about that a little bit, which I'll also discuss tonight. We all know that you're taking a daring step to join Cedar High School just to do something different, but also in the middle of a pandemic to take the risk to try a new high school. We're pretty excited. With that being said, we do still have a few spots open. So if you have a friend or somebody who wants to apply, Amber already put the application into the chat there. You can also find it on the homepage of the district website, that's what it links to. But you can go in and you can learn more about Cedar on our district website. There's a sample daily schedule. There's some videos in there that you can look at. And we're adding stuff to that all the time. So feel free to check into there and read about things like our grading policy. We're pretty excited about grading this year because sometimes students get graded on things that aren't super relevant to what they're really learning in class, like did you remember to bring your syllabus back? Well, that doesn't really show that you learned a whole lot. So what Cedar High School will grade on is you will primarily be graded on your knowledge and your thinking so that you're understanding your classes and that you can get ready to go on to college or wherever you want to go next. But you'll also be graded 10% on your collaboration with your peers, 10% on your written communication, 10% on oral communication, and 10% on something called agency, which is really how do you advocate for yourself? How do you become a lifelong learner and really show that you want to be engaged in what we're doing here at school? And not just here at school, but in your community. So there's a little bit of a different grading policy. But just for all the students out there who might be listening, it's not like last spring where, honestly, because in the middle of the pandemic, we kind of lowered our standards a bit as a district for what you could turn in. We're still going to have a lot of rigor and expect you to learn a lot in these classes. So that's all the stuff you'll learn about in orientation. You'll also get to do some fun stuff where they're going to have you create some fun expressions of yourself virtually. And you'll get to do some breakout rooms with other students. So just a way to kind of get to know each other, even though you're learning from home. So if you have any questions about orientation, feel free to put it there into the chat and Amber will answer, or I will if I can see it as I'm talking. All right, so a couple things to talk about also. What are the classes we're offering? Well, that's probably a great question. So just like Shelton High School or Choice High School, you can get all the classes you need to get a diploma and go on to college here from Cedar High School. One of the advantages of a smaller school is your class sizes will be smaller. You'll have 20 or less students per class, so that's pretty exciting. Now, when you do the interdisciplinary classes, we're going to team up some stuff that makes a lot of sense to go together. Well, for example, U.S. history and junior English. That one's kind of evident, but there's some other fun ones we're teaming up. Let me just grab my list here. I've got a whole list of the things we're going to be teaming up together. So there's a lot of fun stuff. For example, teaming up art and earth science, or teaming up ecology and PE, photography and English language arts, So some of those things that are more career tech focused that you might like to do hands-on learning tied into your science or your history, so that whatever your favorite subject is, maybe you're really an artistic person and that's going to be tied into something. Maybe it's not always been your favorite. Maybe science isn't your favorite, but it helps you see that from a different perspective. So that's pretty cool too. Now, a couple other things to talk about. What's going to happen that first week of school is a great question, especially in the midst of the pandemic. Well, as you've heard, we cannot have lots of students in the school. So usually we start the school year with a big picnic and fun stuff in person. Well, this year we're going to try to still start the school year with some fun activities. So we will have that first week of school. We start on September 2nd. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Mostly in the mornings, you'll have some group activities with your other classmates, doing some kind of welcome back to school things. But we're also going to be spending time helping you learn, how do you log on to the K-12 curriculum? How do you get into your ECHO class for advisory? What if your computer is not working and you're just frustrated and you need some help? So your advisors will be working with you. You'll have an advisor that is a person who knows all about you as much as you let them, but they know your history of your grades and things like that. So they can support you. They'll go over your class schedule. We are scheduling all students into a schedule based on your graduation requirements. Let's say we put you in art and you're like, oh, I know I need art, but I just don't want to do art yet. Can I do something else? Well, that first week, you'll have the chance to do a little bit of schedule modification. So by the end of the first week, you'll be all set to go for your classes to get in full swing the second week of school. Now, that doesn't mean you have no work that first week. You still will have classwork to do. You're going to be logging on to your K-12 classes, but it does mean that in addition to that time in the mornings where you'll be engaging with the staff and logging on every day, in the afternoons, we will have a time for you to meet one-on-one with your advisor and just go over everything about yourself that they need to know, look at your graduation requirements, and make a plan for graduation, especially if you're a senior. I know one of the big questions last year was at the end of the year, we didn't offer the full schedule of classes at Choice or Shelton High. So if you didn't get all those full schedule of classes, what you will need to do is think, what did I miss? What are my gaps? Well, you may know that, but if you don't, your teachers will. They'll have your graduation requirements and they'll say, hey, you didn't get to take your last PE last spring that you're going to take. Let's get you signed up for that as an extra class so that we can get you graduated on time. Now, one of the big advantages in the Shelton School District is we're on trimesters. So while you need 24 credits to graduate, you have a little room in there. So if last spring, we know not everybody got full credit, there's a little wiggle room in there. So you can certainly still graduate on time, or say you were a freshman last year and you didn't quite finish all of your freshman credits, we'll help you get caught up with those. And that's part of that purpose of that first check-in. Now, every 3 weeks after that, you will again have a check-in with your advisor. And so those will be on Fridays. You're still going to be attending school on Fridays, but a portion of that day, like the second half of the day on check-in days, may be a time that you're going to meet with your advisor one-on-one, and your teachers may have given you more of independent work to work on that afternoon so that they can meet one-on-one with each of their students. That way you can see how you're progressing, and especially with online learning, we don't want you guys to get lost. Last spring, we know people got lost. And that ties in really well to what's expected in the regular school day. You will be expected to log on to the Zooms for your classes or the K-12 classrooms 5 times a day for your classes that you have, 5 to 6, I think, with advisory in there. So what happens if you have a sick day or you're gone or your internet goes down that day, there's a power outage? Luckily, the lessons will be recorded. So if you miss something, you can log on later in the evening. And if you engage in the class and you can contact your teacher and they know what's going on with you, that could be an excused absence. Believe it or not, we are taking attendance. So it is important that you're there for every period. Now, one of the things that people are a little confused on is last spring we sent out applications for Cedar High School. And we asked all of the returning Choice students to either go into Cedar or to stay at Choice. And then we marketed our school to Pioneer and OBJ and Shelton High School, and we had you fill out applications. So great job, a lot of you got those in. Now those are not the full enrollment packets. There is a little more paperwork the district will need. So you can go online to do those online, and we would love it if you can get those done online. Or that first week of school, we'll have paper copies too that we either mail out to you or email to you, just to get all that detailed information like your health background and the race and ethnicity form, the McKinney-Vento form. Some of those other forms we need just for your registration. If you've been in the Shelton School District before, we have a lot of that, but some of you might have moved and there's things we need. So I apologize for the extra paperwork, but it'll help us serve you better. Now, a couple other questions that have come up recently. How do you get in touch with us? Well, here soon we will be planning on, already we're checking the phone messages on a daily basis. So if you need to call us here at Choice and you want to leave a phone message to reach Cedar High School, it is the same number as Choice for this year. So it's 360-426-7664. And Amber's putting that into the chat for you. And we'll make sure that our voicemail says, if it doesn't already, this is the home of Choice, Cedar, and you can leave messages for either school here. So next year, once we are in person, Cedar High School will be on the bottom floor of this building and Choice High School will be on the top floor. So the question often comes up, well, are we just one big school? No, we really are two separate schools. Cedar High School is its own school with its own code and its own everything, mascot, all of that. And Choice School is its own school too. So we are sharing this same campus here for this following school year, but we have some really exciting things in the works to where Cedar High School may have our own campus in the fall of 2021. And it really will be an opportunity for both schools to expand in the future. Now, one question that's come up is, how long will you be in school that first day? Well, one of the things you're going to receive in the next week or so is a letter home from me as the principal that explains that whole first week and all of the details. So our plan for that first week of school, which is September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, is you will be logged into your school classes in the mornings. So that'll be from 7:40 to, let me check my handy schedule, what time lunch starts at. That'll be from 7:40 till about 11:30. You'll have activities to do. If you've already received your K-12 login, which I know some families are already receiving through email, you can get on, we can make sure everything's working well for you. The afternoon time, you will be not in direct classes in the afternoon, because in the afternoon, you'll be meeting, each student's meeting one-on-one with their advisor to make sure everything's set for the school year. So you will be doing basically half days online that first week, although in the afternoon, teachers might have given you some independent work to work on, so that doesn't mean you're only Zooming for that first half of the day. And you will need to come to a virtual appointment with your advisor and hopefully your parent or guardian. So those are some great questions we're getting here. And we have about 10 minutes left. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat. I'm going to check my notes for a few other things I wanted to cover with you. All right, one of the big questions that is coming up for the people in the school district is, what do I do if I really need to come into the school building for some reason? It could be a student maybe who, we know that the schools are very safe, welcoming places for students, and you want to be here, you want to see your friends, you want to socialize, and unfortunately we can't do big gatherings like that right now due to the pandemic. But our superintendent and the cabinet members in the school board will be evaluating the status of the pandemic with the Mason County Health Department. We get information daily really, but about every 2 to 4 weeks, we'll be reviewing all of the data in depth to see when can we open school in person? Is it possible to come back with a hybrid model? We've already done a lot of planning for the possibility of 2 groups of students being here with 6 feet distance and social distancing and masks. So as soon as we can go hybrid, we will. However, in the meantime, we do have permission to be able to let in a student here or there as needed for special services, or say your family is just super frustrated with K-12 and you really want to sit down with one of us and say, okay, help me out, help me figure this out. We don't want you to get so frustrated that you're trying to deal with it all at home. We do have live tech support that you can call in for help from our tech department, which is great. And that information is available on the district website. But you might just be having a day where your website's completely down. And we do hope to have some office hours where you can come in. We'll have a tent set up out front. We can meet with you, do a health screening, and then have a few students in the building as needed for special services or things like that. Now, one question that comes up a lot is, what if I have an IEP or a 504 plan and I have special needs? So it's been very clear from our governor that we want to make sure that everybody has those needs addressed. And of course, we want to do that as a school anyway. However, we aren't going to be able to have anybody in the school full time on a daily basis where they come in every day and get services. But it might be that some students are able to come in for a couple hours, a couple times a week for something that they need. And also, as much as possible, though, we want to keep you all safe. So if you have an IEP meeting that needs to be done or a 504 meeting, we're going to be able to do that virtually. Now, a couple of the other things that we wanted to talk about, we have an amazing counselor, Elizabeth Hamilton. She might even be in here with us right now on the YouTube chat. And she is setting up a virtual Google Classroom so that she can really stay connected with all the students. And what if something comes up where as a student, you're feeling really depressed or down, or something happens in your family where you need help with food, or as the pandemic started, we actually had a lot of families that needed toilet paper. Luckily, we have some great outreach workers who are able to help with those things. So please don't hesitate to ask. We don't always have the best answer for you. We don't always have a solution, but we can usually help. We also have our host program run by Kim Reinhart and her assistants, Diva Roberts and Micah McElhenney. And they help people with all sorts of resources. They'll help students who need transitional housing, and that's for the whole school district, not just Cedar. But they'll also help students who maybe needs help with getting a driver's license or their social security card. So there's lots of resources available. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And what if your family is not primarily English speaking and maybe speaks another language as their primary first language? We do have resources too for people that need help with translation. And if you need that when you come to a meeting, or say as a student, you don't necessarily need it, but your family does, please let us know so we can help set that up. So at this point, if there aren't any other questions, I'm going to jump back to my list here and cover a couple more topics. Let's see. One of the things that we will be doing next week is we will have some times open at the school building for people to pick up yearbooks. So if you ordered a yearbook last year from Choice and you haven't gotten it yet, well, nobody's gotten them yet, and you want to pick up your yearbook, that'll be available. We also would have the capacity to mail them to people who don't want to come in to pick them up. Next week, we will have a few open office hours where you can come outside and pick up things that you need, whether that be a paper application or maybe you need some school supplies and you just say, hey, we really need some pens or pencils or paper. Can we come in and get some? If you email one of the people that Amber's putting there into the chat, we will connect you with the right person. And we will have those office hours posted up on our website by tomorrow, we hope. So at this point, as you probably know, most staff are being encouraged to stay home and work from home because we don't want anybody to get sick and be in contact with others too much. But we do have a few staff members who can come and meet with you if needed. There's a few other things to just cover for you too. The school district will be continuing to provide lunches for students. So we do have several lunch sites that have been operating this summer and will continue to operate next year. And if we have students on campus, because we end up having a need for some of them to be here, we can request sack lunches from our school district and see if we can get those here for you. Another one of the services that some of our families in the past have used, whether it was at Choice or Shelton High School or now at the new Cedar High School, is we've had food bags that have been donated from community members, and we have a great guy who brings bread into the building. So if you're somebody who just was like, oh man, I want some of that bread, which honestly, a lot of the staff took it once the students went through it. There's always good bread around for people. You can always contact us for things like that too. We certainly want to still provide those services as much as we can. Now, as far as transportation, the school district is not going to be running all the regular bus routes this year since very few students will be able to come into the buildings on a here and there basis. But if you have a transportation need, certainly email us and we'll see what we can do. There's also obviously things like dial-a-ride and things like that available. Now, one question that comes up a lot for students that come to Cedar High School is, can I still do sports and activities at Shelton High or go to their clubs or go to their dances? As soon as we're back live and people are in person, of course you can go to all of those things. Same behavior types of codes as we have here at Cedar and Shelton High has, but you're welcome to go to their dances, all of those types of things. So I see a great question there from one of the parents who I know his sons have attended here before, and I believe his daughter is going to attend here in the fall. So great question. What's the difference between Cedar and Choice? So Cedar High School is going to be full-time Monday through Friday, with all of the classes really focused around interdisciplinary learning, project-based learning, and having a full day schedule from 7:40 in the morning until 2:10 in the afternoon. Students can ride the bus up to Shelton High or back down to Shelton High or back down in the morning and catch their regular buses home no matter which school they're in. But Cedar High School is really designed for students who want to be involved in group work, project-based learning. They're willing to do some collaboration with each other and also some independent work. It'll be focused a lot on critical thinking. And on our website, the school district website, we have all sorts of information like our school values and our grading policies. And it's really designed to be an innovative, creative school. As you may know, Shelton High School has 4 career academies this year, everything from Health Science Academy to Natural Resources. I kind of see Cedar High School as our school for the Renaissance kid, or the kid who wants to study a little bit of everything. We envision it's going to be great for students who want to go into lots of fields after high school, whether it is a specific career field. We are going to be offering things like video production, photography, early childhood education, and some of those career classes, but also students who maybe want to go to college and study liberal arts or humanities, or they just aren't quite sure which career path they want to take yet. So they want to explore a lot of options in a lot of ranges. And a lot of what we do will be connected to the community, whether it's the local community, because sometimes kids think that and they think, oh, I don't want to do anything here at Shelton. I grew up here. I want to get out of Shelton. Well, the great thing about virtual learning is we have a global community now. So if a student's really interested with a couple of their peers and they're really interested in something like climate change or gun rights or upcoming elections or kind of whatever they're interested in, what the teachers will be doing in those classes is trying to take those student interests, tying them into the core standards that the students have to meet to pass the class, but then also letting the students explore some really cool essential questions, kind of that deeper level of thinking. Things like, for example, if we think about one of our local issues here and kind of nationwide and worldwide too, you know, how do we reduce the number of people who are unhoused in our community? How is the homeless population affecting local businesses? How can we house everybody? Is that a human right, or is it something people should have to pay for? All of those kind of deep questions that we have as a society, students will get to answer those using essential questions, and then they'll create authentic real-world projects. So instead of just saying, here, write a book report about this book, we want students to create something that can make a difference to others. So for example, one of the things we eventually hope to do once we have our own site and the construction teaching position is maybe we'll build some tiny homes to help resolve some of those issues. Maybe we'd build a gazebo out at one of the trails around here for people to go and enjoy the natural environment. So we're really looking at things that are real world applications so that when you then go on to high school or college or your work environment, you've got those collaboration skills that you'll need in the real world. Now, Choice High School, and I'll just give this, I know we're running a little bit out of time, but I want to finish answering the question. So Choice for this upcoming year is going to be more flexible scheduling for students who might need a flexible schedule. When we're in person, Choice students will come in a minimum of 10 hours a week. There's 3 sessions, one in the morning before lunch, one after lunch, and then one in the early or late afternoon, early evening. So students have to come to at least one session Monday through Thursday and attend classes, some classes that are kind of direct instruction, like your Spanish class or your English class perhaps, but it's very individualized for each student. So for example, if you're a student who's working full-time and you can really only come, you know, in those evenings when you're not working, we'll set up a schedule individually for you that gets your graduation requirements met. So Choice is much more a combination of independent learning and small groups based on each student's individual schedule needs. So for example, a student who wants to go full-time to Choice can do that, but they might have a schedule that looks like an advisory, an English class, and then maybe third period is an independent study on the computer time. Fourth period might be their math class, and then maybe fifth and sixth, they're done with school early to go work on a job. So there's some different options at Choice. They're both very small, student-centered, and have a great school culture, but Cedar is really designed more for those students who want to work in groups and be more engaged in those projects. And Choice will still have some projects built in too, but it's designed more for students who might need to have a really individualized learning plan. So I think we've answered the questions that have come up, and I really appreciate all of you joining us today. So the next things that are coming up on the Cedar agenda is we will have on Monday, we are going to have the Cedar orientation for the group of students who've signed up for that orientation. So please, if you're thinking about Cedar but you haven't signed up yet, check out the links Amber has sent, submit us an application, or send us an email, and we're glad to meet and talk with you. We will also have another orientation option before this first week of school. You'll be getting a letter home and probably a robocall also explaining that first week of school. And then we will have a parent and student night that first week of school. That's kind of a virtual Zoom welcome back open house type of thing that we'll be doing virtually for you all as well. That way parents can ask more questions about Cedar High School, students can kind of connect with each other, and it'll be our virtual open house. So all of that will be up on the district website along with the Cedar Facebook page. And please check those out so you can learn more information about us. So at this time, we're going to end this live broadcast. We will be starting another one at 6:30 for Choice School, which is grades 7 through 12. And if you want to learn about Choice, feel free to join us at that time. Thank you, everybody.